different topics which are relevant to family caregivers. And, family caregivers are a critical part of the entire caring ecosystem and are often a misrepresented undercared segment. By family caregiver, we mean those members of the family who are primarily responsible for taking care of a patient with an illness. And this is the 12th webinar in our series of different aspects related to family caregivers. Today we talk about personal fitness for caregivers. So essentially what Caregiver Sathi is trying to do is to create an ecosystem of well-being and healing for the primary caregivers by empowering the caregivers so that they can lead full lives and therefore also help the care receiver or the patient lead a full life. So how do we do this? We do this by providing a variety of technology-enabled systems which are always supported by the human connection. We do a number of awareness programs which are both online, on social media and digitally, like this one, as well as offline programs wherein we increase awareness and sensitization of family caregivers. We have a helpline. We have support group or healing circles where family caregivers get together to learn from each other and have a safe space where they can talk about their emotional challenges and get support from those people who are going through the same challenges or have been through them in the past. We have an active social media outreach whereby we use videos, podcasts, articles, etc. to help provide this education to family caregivers and well-wishers of family caregivers, because many times even if we are not a direct caregiver, we do know people who are caregivers, and many times because the caregiver is so trapped in the day-to-day care provisioning for the patient that they need intervention from communities and friends and family to help them navigate this place further, especially because caregivers tend to put their needs last. And so they need a reminder from well-wishers. And we also provide an app for the caregivers to organize themselves and be able to manage their caregiving responsibilities much better. We're also in the process of creating other technology platforms like bots, etc., to help them. We have the website, we have the app, we are building a community, we have the caregiver stories that are available as videos. We have Compassionate Caring, which is our series, which is focused on helping professional caregivers like doctors, nurses, and other healthcare professionals. We provide coaching to family caregivers and professional caregivers, family counseling, and we are in the process of developing respite care, which is basically allowing family caregivers to take a break so that they can rejuvenate and also take care of themselves. Many times they don't have the time or the support available to do so. How do we encourage participants to get involved? That's by joining the support groups, helping us collect caregiving stories of people about the challenges they faced, what are their learnings, how have they come out of those, and to help increase awareness of the challenges by, communication in person or on social media, because word of mouth is clearly the most powerful way to get a message across. People can volunteer, or you can help donate or raise funds. We encourage students to do internships as well as you could help refer us to various other NGOs or hospitals or other people that you're aware of in your personal network who could help support this initiative. The underlying framework that we use is to help understand the well-being of the caregiver. And the reason behind that is because, at the end of the day, only a person who is taking care of their own well-being would be in a position to help someone else. The elements of well-being include physiological, which is to do with the physical fitness, spiritual, psychological, supported by the well-wisher of the community ecosystem, which is to do with social well-being, legal and financial well-being, as well as having life and work purpose, supported by creative expression, which is how an individual is able to encourage their own creative well-being. This is because stress is caused by an imbalance in any or all of these 7 elements of well-being, which are all interrelated and yet contribute to the overall well-being of an individual. Unaddressed chronic stress leads to mental health issues, some of which are diagnosable in terms of various mental health conditions, or it could just be pervasive in terms of irritability, or being discontent with your current situation, or being restless and being unable to understand what are the various real or imaginary known and unknown fears that are playing out in a caregiver's mind. And the idea is to identify these 7 elements and work on them through practices which can help us build resilience of the mind, body, and soul. Today we have the great privilege of having with us Apeksha. Apeksha is a certified fitness coach and is continually looking at upgrading herself and transforming her life. She is currently an active caregiver for a 13-year-old daughter as well as her in-laws, and so she understands the caregiving context. Of course, she'll tell us a little bit more about that from her perspective. At one point of time, you'll be shocked after looking at her video, but she had managed to reach a weight of about 135 kilos when she was a caregiver to her grandparents. But she decided to take action on that, registered in a gym, and managed to lose almost 60 kilos. More importantly, she took to running about 5 years back, running about 10 kilometers, but now she has been able to push her limits to amazing achievements, including covering over 100 miles at a go, finishing running 36 hours at a stretch, to even running at the highest waterable road, which is the Khardungla Pass, at more than close to 19,000 feet above sea level. Her story has been published by Rashmi Bansal in a book, Touch the Sky, along with other inspirational women, and her various articles on fitness and lifestyle have been published at various points in time. She believes in spreading happiness through fitness and follows a slogan, #fitness is happiness. Just some generic, we'll hear more about her, and I'm sure she'll do more justice than I could have in that short one slide. We will have the presentation followed by the Q&A, and we would encourage people to share their feedback and suggestions. The microphone is still muted at all times. When you raise your hand, you'll be invited to share in the Q&A session. The group is restricted to registered participants and it is not being live streamed. So please feel free to share without any privacy concerns. We will not be recording the live Q&A part of this session, but we will refer to it for designing for the sessions of ours. With that, Apeksha, over to you. All yours.
Thank you, Anish. I'm overwhelmed and thankful to you for getting me on this platform. It's a lovely opportunity for me. Well, my name is Apeksha, and I am as common as you all are over here. Would like to start with a small story about myself from my own experience when I was like 21-year-old and I got married. I got married happily to into a joint family where we have a grand-in-laws, in-laws and all everyone together. Immediately 1 year after my marriage, my grand-in-laws were aging, and that's the reason they were on bed. Since they were like aging and they had some health issues, we were like our focus was that we need to keep them happy at their end stage of life, and people whoever are attached in the family to them, of course we too. So everybody's emotions have been taken care that time. In that process, like in taking care of your father is having food on time, your husband is going to his business on time, you have to manage multiple things at home, and I truly understand each and every person is going through that. Majorly like women has to face that, whether any age. And in the process of giving service and happy function of a family, there are some points where we neglect our own self, we forget our own identity. In that case, we forget to take care of our uh, personal needs in that case. So whatever has been cooked for your, like say for your mother or patient, we try to like, okay, that food is okay for us or no. So there is no choice of food given at that minute of time, because you want to just be responsibly complete your duties towards everyone. When we lost our father-in-law, great grandfather-in-law, that was the time. Till that time, I wasn't pregnant. Also, I realized I have put on weight due to there was a big interval of timings between my meal, and that was one of the reason. Lack of sleep, no proper sleeping timings, awake till night, getting up early and all that sort, it gave a side effect, unhealthy effect to my body. And immediately after that I got pregnant, where I've already gained 80 kgs, and then I got pregnant. And during the whole month of 9 months of pregnancy, by the end of 9 months I was almost 125 kgs. And it is very sad about yourself when you know the age of your yourself is not like you're not healthy for your age at that time. So yeah, excuse me, there's something on the screen, I guess. Okay, so yeah. And because of that reason, like I've already 135 kg, and now what to do? Like, that was my story where the health took a toll on me. Now, when it comes to a caregiver today, uh, I would say, like, if caregiver is happy and if she is healthy, the caregiver himself can give a good 100% of themselves to the person whom she is taking care of. So there are multiple reasons we need to take care when we are engrossed in doing our responsibilities towards the patient or the loved ones who is not feeling well at our house. So at times you don't eat on time. At times you even forget to comb your hair. At times you forget to take personal care, such as monthly maintenance also in that case. And women's their hormonal levels get really imbalanced at that point of time. So when it comes to the health of caregiver, it is very important. If they are healthy, they can take care better in a very pleasant and a positive way. There are many other points which we need to discuss and work on, how it is possible and how can we make this surrounding very positive by taking care of ourselves as well as of the patient. So uh, there are 2 points basically, which when it comes to fitness and nutrition, how can fitness and nutrition be very effective on the caregivers here? Like generally it's a pursuit of a person to have a perfect body. When we see a caregiver or when we go to meet a patient, we always talk about the patient, how is he. We never look at the caregiver looks, it's always like, you know, she's perfect, she's thin and all. For me, the pursuit of fitness is not fit in term of slim or fat, but the health of a body is from within. It's with the mental level, mental maturity, understanding. And we phrase caregiver for their skinny appearance, and ignoring the fact that they are potentially they be not given through a very unhealthy way, or deteriorate the diet or poor sleeping habits or something like that. What if we focus that what we can achieve through this body, what our body is actually potential, rather than what they look like? I would like to talk about what if we move our focus from fatness or skinny to a fitness. Fitness is for me something, is not a shape like 26, 36 or something like that. Good fitness is important for many other reasons. We all know that. I don't want to discuss why fitness is important and also, but I know one thing, that fitness will definitely protect you from injuries. It will strengthen your immune system. We can take care of our daily activity if we are fit. We can do our regular functions, and we can socialize in a very healthy settings of our environment. It takes thing in a very it makes things very easier when you are fit to do any kind of activity. uh, and that's partly because exercise can be enjoyable. At times it will take you to little uncomfortable zone. For me, I think it's very healthy to be at that uncomfortable zone for a moment in that day. Like brushing teeth and eating is important, exercising and fitness is also equally important. I personally take myself 2 to 3 times in a year in an uncomfortable zone to test my own potential, to run for hours and hours, like for 24 hours, 36 hours, running ultra distance. What do I achieve? Nothing. It's not financial achievement or something. What do I achieve is my emotional and my mental and physical resilience. It makes me more confident. So when we become fit, the whole approach toward the words get expanded. You don't block yourself to the same routine every day. Whether the patient is recovered, not recovered, or he's happy or not happy, it's like when you radiate positivity through fitness, you also radiate a healing capacity from yourself to the patient in a very positive environment, rather than patient thinking about, okay, I am a burden on my fellow mates or my family mates. They'll enjoy the process of healing themselves also. So and for me, exercise was always taking me through a darkness into a new horizon. So I feel personally like when a caregiver is in such a position where they find there is no hope or something, it is very important for anybody, not even caregiver, to maintain 5 to 15 minutes to 25 minutes of fitness every day in their regime. Now, there are two challenges when it comes generally. People often say, "Mere paas time nahi hai, we don't have time. It is very difficult. This is bothering me. This is there." See, when you really want to do it for yourself, there will be only one reason, and that you have to do it. Otherwise, you will have multiple excuses that will come on. It's only one life, and I feel you can do justice to your life in a very healthy environment, rather than creating or uh, creating something like, you know, there are challenges in life. So let's find a solution rather than crying about or cribbing about those challenges, right? So that is my take over here. The two challenges which is faced is, one is no time. uh, I don't think we take a mobile in a hand and we can scroll for like half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. But if we delete that gadget time and can take out 30 minutes or 25 minutes, that time can help us to do our regular exercise. And the second myth is about the place or enrolling into some expensive gym. I totally disagree this, because even uh, even at home you can do such things. exercise with the help of the furniture, with the help of the body weight, furniture as a prop. We can do many things at home itself. There should be a will to do it. That's what I understand. There are many other points which I would like to discuss about it. Like what type of exercise should we do? When should we do? The morning things, first just keep yourself, give morning when you wake up, just give a shot to your breathing exercise, have some water, have one fruit, and that's the right time, 5 to 10 minutes. You can, even if you're new to exercise, you can start spot jogging 15 minutes on the spot, on the spot, not even jogging, then you can march pass also, as per your age, as per your potential. So there, I don't think there can be a reason that you don't get a time and space to do exercise. Everything can be sought out. We can take a help of a friend. We are there to help you out. So all these things we can consider and take care of ourselves. Where it comes to the nutrition part, it is very important for a caregiver to have a wholesome of nutrition, like carbohydrates, protein, fats. Everybody knows is important, how it is important and why it is important. Apart from that, also a sleep is a very important part of the lifestyle. So it is very important, to take a proper sound sleep. Suppose you're not getting time to sleep for 6 to 7 hours, but even if you're getting 4 to 5 hours, see to that your sleep is a totally sound sleep. Yeah. There are times when they are so engrossed in their work and responsibilities, so they even forget to have the choice of their food. But at least take care that the proper quantity of carbohydrates, proper portion of other minerals is being provided to the caregivers, or we can have it. So I will like to give few tips on how to go about it, how to start about it. It will be like, if a caregivers are healthy, they will be able to take care of others, definitely. Always start your day with breathing and planning out our days. It is so important to set our day right. Listen to your body, give it love and care, the way you want to give it to other. Have a very well balanced meals, because your gut and mind are strongly connected. If you eat with negative emotions or anger, your food is going to be digested and metabolized in that manner, and that energy you're going to transfer it to the other people in the house. So it's always advisable that build a relationship with your food. Enjoy the taste, texture, shape, color, etc. of your food. Keep gadgets away. Never miss out water. Little drop in the hydration can affect your health. So never miss out on water. Try to have it in the form of coconut water, in the form of fruits or juices, or in that case, anything. Caregivers are at times sleep deprived. We understand that they have to keep a check on the patient or elders, but make sure that the quality of sleep is good. You may sleep for 5 to 6 hours, but it has to be really a sound sleep. Sleep is the time when your body is resting and it gets time to repair and heal. And when the caregiver is healed, she radiates that healing energy and aura to the other people in the family. So it is very important to keep yourself fresh, give time to your sleeping. Apart from that, when it comes uh, to the nutrients, like caregivers should take care of their iron, then there is calcium. Like, it is always said that a lady can make calcium in her body can make a calcium till 25 years of her age. Post that, we don't make calcium anymore. So then how to take extra supplement from a natural food, how to keep all the deficiency of minerals intact, so that it does not affect your mood and your hormonal levels don't get imbalanced. So there are multiple ways you can, for calcium you can add up fig, sesams, almonds, rajgira. There are iron based sources food from natural thing, where you don't really need to go out of the box and keep it in the house. So all these things which is really helpful. And in terms of exercise, even if you like do 21 Surya Namaskar daily, which take 10 minutes, you are absolutely healthy and fit to keep your body moving, functioning very well. So in the end, I would like to say, like, don't lose yourself in the service of other people. Find your own identity and find yourself in the service of other people. Perfect is not fitness. I understand it does not exist, but happy and healthy body is something which can make us move on daily. So yeah, Anish, that was my take. I hope there are some takeaways. I cannot hear you, Anish.
Absolutely, Apeksha, I think that was useful. We have received a couple of questions, and I would encourage the couple have.
Not audible.
And now, am I audible now? Okay. So thank you, Apeksha. That was very useful. I think we have received a bunch of questions,
Yes.
and I would also encourage the participants to send any questions that they have or raise their virtual hand on the participant list if you'd like to ask.
Yeah,
One
definitely.
question has been that, you know, for some of us who have not been able to exercise at all, right?
Yeah.
That initial lethargy or inertia is something which is a bit of a problem. Like the way you said 21 Surya Namaskars in 10 minutes, my heart sank because I don't think I can do 21 Surya Namaskars in 10 hours
Okay.
because I've been away from fitness for quite some time, right? So in the initial phase, how did you phase out your fitness goals so that it was more achievable and you can sort of move
So,
forward?
Anish, initially it's going to be difficult and we are going to go out of comfort zone, but set a small goals like being consistent daily. Yes, I mentioned while doing exercise, you are going to go out of comfort zone initially, but as and when the body gets conditioned, you have a if you don't know how to do exercise and how to start about it, you always can take a professional help, but it's not always important. See, it's important to move your body. Anish, we can have just 2 minutes demo. I'll ask you to just stand up and start marching, and just for 2 minutes, and you see the heart rate gets elevated, and that's the exercise. That's what we want to improve our cardiovascular, right? So I don't think it's going to take much time. It's just your willpower. Yes, I want to do it. That acceptance should be there from the within, and then you are all set to go about it. See, excuses are going to be 100, but if you will to do it, there's only one reason: I want to do it. I'll never stop. I'll never give up. So that is one take from here from me, because me being 135 kg, it's an embarrassment movement to going in the gym and also taking one squat or moving one step up also. So when I can do it, at that situation where I am taking care of my family, I am responsible for everything, I'm working from home. So why not anybody else? Everybody can do it. It's nothing related to financial or your any other things. It's just about your mindset, where you have to take one step and you have to be strong headed about that thing. Yes, I'm going to do it. Set your day, privatize your day, the day you brush your teeth, the way you eat food. Why not exercise then daily? A body is mentioned to move, right? You don't even need a pair of shoes to start exercise. You can do it without pair of shoes. So what else you need?
So one thing that we hear very often is about the unpredictability of time, right? So
Yes.
in some specific conditions where the patient is completely dependent on the caregiver to give them
Yes.
food, to help them bathe, etc., and it is all little unpredictable when they will be called to help, right?
Perfect. Yes,
So
yes.
in that scenario, what do you suggest? How can one create either fixed time or play around with it?
I don't say the exercise have a fixed time. You can move your body anytime. In that condition where patient is unpredictable when you are needed, you are besides your patient, all right? You can start a bed exercise next to him. In fact, it's just moving your hand and body, nothing else. Like a simple mountain climber for 2 minutes, you don't even need a warm-up for that. A simple jumping jack when the patient is on the bed, and that time he doesn't need you, he's in front of your eyes, you can stand next to him and just set up, okay, now I need to do this. You don't have to sit and think up when I'm needed, or what am I supposed to do. Why that negative thoughts has to become, I have nothing to do, just observe this? That's not the way, right? You have to change that approach and uh, grab the time in the entire day. I'm sure it is very convenient to, when you want to do it, you can find a way. And when you really don't want to do it, I'm telling you again, you will find 100 of excuses. It is possible in front of the patient to do exercise. Trust me, that aura is going to be more joyful, and the patient is also going to feel happy. Okay, she is not stopping her own activity. She is continuously on her toes with her own stuff also, and she's doing what she likes to do it. So it's absolutely doable. It's nothing can obstruct, I feel that personally. So I'll give you one rough example. When my baby, she's 6 months old, I was that time roughly around 128 kgs. I was struggling to lose weight. There was absolutely nobody in the house where I can drop her and go to gym or something like that. I walked 1,000 steps at that room itself where she's sleeping. So I can relate to the problem, but we can have solution if we want to work towards it, right?
Right, of course. So there is a lot of science and research available that the general physical fitness and the act of doing some kind of exercise is directly linked to the serotonin and other hormones in the brain, the happy hormones, so to speak,
Yes,
right?
dolphins and endorphins. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
the endorphins and all of that. So
Dopamine.
the so while that correlation is there, what do you think? How do you think in your life, having fitness as a part of your regime, how do you think that your overall emotional health has improved?
Yeah, so scientifically, you were right. There is a direct connection. So when you are trying to achieve a small goal of exercise to be completed in that moment of time, right? When you are going out of comfort zone with a lot of efforts to go out of to do perform particular exercise, you sweat a lot, and when you sweat a lot, there are these hormones released which tends you to make happy. And how does it help you emotionally? Because it increases your potential daily. Each day of exercise will make you gain something. Never a day is wasted when you do exercise daily. So when you know your potential, it works overall to develop your own confidence also. And when the confidence is high, so emotional aspects is already so strong that whoever is like emotionally trying to attack you, you are standing by yourself. You know yourself, how you are and how you need to react to that situation. You are connected to your soul, your muscles, your brains, everything when you exercise daily. So I take it that way. How did exercise help me? Initially, I was shy. I was never outspoken. When I started exercise daily, today I'm a fitness coach. I never dreamt in my life I could walk 100 meter years back. So I'm a best example in front of you right now, how exercise is helping me in overall development, whether it's emotional, social, or I am like little fearless now. So I don't think I will deny that point. Yes, exercise definitely help your emotional levels to improve it for a better reason.
Absolutely. So another thing that our research has shown is that sort of creating a specific time for or doing the exercise is also a good way to distract and detach yourself from what's happening on a day-to-day basis, right?
Perfect. Yes.
So suppose there is a condition which doesn't have a cure, or it is old age and things like that, we can't do much about it. We can just help manage the situation, right?
Perfect.
But
Yeah.
having a routine and a regimen and a orientation towards fitness also allows us to distract from getting trapped in the situation which you can't change, right? So from even a spiritual or a peace of mind perspective, there is research to show that this has happened. If you were to reflect back on your journey over the last few years, how do you think it has, having fitness as a part of your day-to-day life, how do you think it has helped build that resilience to deal with unexpected situations that pop up?
Uh,
Anything you can share from your
yeah,
experience?
yeah. I will like to share this. When I had participated in a run at Dholavira, it's in desert, right? The distance was about 42 kilometer, which I need to cover up. And it was in uncivilized area. Now, how do I relate to my daily regime? I'll let you know. The race was completely into the uncivilized area with a GPS where I need to find a way for my or a 42 kilometer. And I got lost in the way. I lost the GPS track, and I'm in uncivilized area where it's a complete trail area. There's absolutely nobody, and that 42 kilometer in Mumbai, I took 5 hours. There I took 11 hours. I was totally alone. What made me sustain there was I never even practiced that much run that time. That was my exercise, but there was some connection, spiritual connection. I don't have water with me. I'm under the sun. I'm having my periods also that time, and I'm in the sports activity, and I don't have people around to take care of me. I'm fighting with myself alone. There the spiritual connections come. There I felt my exercise is helping me to move forward to the finishing line. So exercise always strengthens your internal gut level also. I believe that. I mean, daily regime of exercise is as similar as we eat food. So what we eat, it needs to be digested well. It needs to be nourished well. It needs to be detoxed also well, right? There are times when we eat more than the body requires. There are times emotionally when we have nothing to do, nothing to think, we keep on eating something. Where that food is going, that food has to be detoxed through the way of exercise. So I think exercise daily, if they are done in a regular way, uh, it is going to be helpful in any circumstances. It's a routine, you know, like what is ultimate. It's you have come alone in this world, you have to go back alone only. Yes, we are, like, you know, connected to the people over here, but if you are mentally fit and physically fit, you can deal with anything, and this is only with daily regime of exercise and proper nutrition. Yeah.
Thanks, Apeksha. There's one question from one of our participants that you talked about the body needs to be out of the comfort zone, right? Be a
Yes.
little uncomfortable also. So can you explain a little bit more about
Yeah.
that?
So when we don't move our body the way we move every day, and suddenly we start something new, there are muscles contractions and extension happening when we do exercise, right? So that condition is little uncomfortable until your body gets used to it. Simply, you don't lift 10 kg or 15 kgs weight every day, right? One day if you lift weight, that's your uncomfortable zone. Arey, kitna utha liya. Same thing when mother gives a birth to a child, she was not practicing to hold 3 to 4 kg every day in her hand, but slowly and steadily she gets graduated to hold the weight. So it takes time, right? If a normal person who's not a mother and holds a baby for like half an hour continuously, definitely that person is going to go into that uncomfortable zone. So that's what I'm explaining. Initially it's a little pain because the muscles get contracts and extension happens, muscle get tired, and that tired leads to some kind of fatigueness. The body conditions and registers it, okay, we're going to do this every day. So that period is little uncomfortable zone. Otherwise, there is no problem. Keep it regularly. As I said, every workout will become your warm up.
Right. So we have another question which we talked about earlier also, how to get started, right? The inertia. But
I
equally,
will love to ask what made you stop, or what is obstructing you to start with. I will love to know that. Then I'll have a proper target answer for that.
I
What is
think,
stopping you? How to start? What is stopping you? I even
yes,
mentioned
sir.
you don't even need a pair of shoes. Just take a 5 minutes and march past on the spot in that place. You have started already. You are depressed, you are tired. Just do some yoga asins, something or the other, and that's the start. Make it a practice. Like in this pandemic thing, when the gym is not like work in operational right now, so how do I start my workout at home? We started with body weight. We started doing surya namaskar. So in a day we did like around 108 surya namaskar. What else you need? The whole part of your body is being worked functional very well. So how to start? Make us mindsets that when you are planning your day, 30 minutes a day, I'm going to do it today. Anyhow, I'm going to log it, write it, keep it in front of your wall before sleeping it. Tomorrow I'm going to exercise and I'm going to do this. When you wake up, see that thing what you have written and try to just bang on to that thing. So I don't think that thing will stop you later on. Continuously, like, I believe in that 2190 procedure. Like every 21 days it takes to make anything, like, in your routine, to set in your routine. And once that thing is set, then nothing can stop you.
Yeah. It's quite interesting that you say that. So I don't like exercise at all, right?
Yeah.
Anything that I perceive as exercise. So in January, I decided to start walking and started with only about 1,000 steps or something like that. But then it reached even 10,000 steps and I was happy. Then COVID happened, and after March, I have made it an excuse not to do it, right? It's a mental excuse, like the word that
Correct.
you used.
Correct.
The only reason I can't start, restart, or sustain is because I'm making excuses. So I think that point you've made very clear. It
Yeah, we
hurts, but
we
it's
have
true.
ample of excuses, Anish. If we go to see, everybody has problems in their life, in their own premises or everything. But why do we focus on problem and not on solution, right,
Absolutely.
Anish? Yes, we are caregivers. Yes, we are running a family. We have dependence on us, but we don't need to forget ourselves in that process, right? As I told, like, you are not losing yourself in taking care of others. You are finding yourself in that service. So that is a very big key point. What I want to say, like, it is okay, like, if there are problems around you, don't take it as a problem. Take it as a challenge and face that challenge daily.
I
So
like what you just said. It's a matter of changing or shifting perspective
perfect.
by saying that I'm going to use this opportunity to discover more about myself, as opposed to saying that I'm doing a service to someone.
Perfect. Yes.
Right? So I think that
And that's your identity. And why you have to lose yourself in that? And
that's a
you,
very important shift, because the ability to take a step back and relook at how you want to deal with the situation. That's a very valuable point. But I think okay, I said it before, I'll say it again. The
yes,
ease with which you say 24 Surya Namaskars and 108 Surya Namaskars is scary, right?
yes,
So, so instead of going there, you talked a little bit about doing one jumping jack while the patient is there, right? You talked about doing some flexing
mountain climbers, some
exercise.
flexible exercises.
You mentioned that, using furniture as props. Can
Yes.
you explain simple things in a little more detail? Like, for example, you talked about the prop. Uh, are you suggesting that I can take a small dining chair and lift it once or twice?
No, no, no. I
So
don't
that's
want
what
you
it's.
to do that. See,
So
you
could you
have a
explain a
chair.
little more
Yeah,
visually?
I'll just give you a different example.
Yes, that will
Anish,
be
just
helpful.
stand up. Just
Correct?
stand up. Just stand up.
You'll see
And
my
now
stomach.
sit. And now sit. You did one squat.
Okay.
That's a daily functional thing what we do daily. I'm sorry to make you stand, but
Ah, that's
yeah,
okay.
just standing up and sitting down is one squat where you don't need to check your form. You don't need anybody to see whether you have done it right. Just stand up and sit for 10 counts and you are done with set of squats and what you do it in the gym. That's equivalent. The same muscles are getting targeted. So for example, this was one basic example. You can just stand next to the patient near the bed. You're observing it. You can walk on your toes around the bed. That gives you a movement in your calves, your
Yeah.
hamstring, your glutes, right? You can lie down next to the patient, where apart from his bed, and just raise your glutes up while lying down on your back. You have working for your glutes and lower back. So these are all small, small things where you don't need anybody else. You can manage it on yourself in any time of a day, whenever you get time. All these small, small things doesn't require a heavy warm up or something like that or expert in your. It's just about moving your body and stop giving excuses and just hit on your fitness,
So
right?
so we got 3 examples here. Let's pick up a few more.
All
So,
right. Yes,
so
tell
for
me.
example, you talked about sitting and standing, which is like a simple squat. So, okay, legs taken care of, walking on the toes, awesome. What do we do about shoulders? Or like, so for example, every time I stretch like this, I get a cramp at the back. Okay, so just
See,
broadly,
yeah. Broadly, I'll explain.
top,
When it
middle,
comes to
and
your
bottom.
upper
What
back,
should we
your
do?
lower back, and your shoulders, generally the caregivers are always sitting and they droop their shoulders down, right? For that, they have to just sit and keep on rotating so that the mobility is not lost on that joint mobility over there, right? When it comes to shoulder, when it comes to your posture, always when they are like consciously, currently they would be not conscious, they're slouching and sitting and they're disturbing their posture. Ask them, we can instruct or make a guidelines like sit with your chest up, which gives your back a good straightening, and your vertebrae is been maintained with a neutral extension of the way it has to be done. When it comes to the back exercise, what you said, I said you can lift your glutes while you're lying down on the back. That's a ultimate exercise for your lower back. When it comes to lats, right? When talking about this, all you have to just do it, raise your hand, extend it, and shift it. Just extend and come to this position. That's in mobility for your lats. So even if you are sitting with a gadget for 1 minute, you can excuse yourself, upright, sit like this, and just do it. 10 to 15 counts. That's your start. It doesn't require any equipments or something like that. Everything is, every part of the body can be easily done workout. Just have to increase the repetitions. You can't do at that time, but you can divide it into 30 seconds, 1 minute in every hour, and you can do that. Like the for the people where caregivers are just sitting for a longer time, they know, okay, they're sitting for 30 minutes next to the patient and they've not moved it. Stand up and walk around the bed in the room, right? Then move your back, touch the toes, and stand again. The back gets mobilized, right? It gets more blood circulation. So that's what the small awareness about yourself creates automatically. Like, you don't, when once you start, you automatically understand, okay, my hand is supposed to move like this. This is not so difficult. We have never done that. Jumping jacks, we do it, right? Your hands up and down. I'm sure most of the people can't keep their hands straight like this. Sometimes their elbows are bent because they're not moving this part, right? So yeah, I can see somebody doing some exercise.
Yes, I was about to say that I'm very happy because we have Saraswati with us, who mentioned that she's a caregiver to her son, and she's not able to go to the gym because of lockdown. Sometimes it rains. She used to walk, that got affected by the rains, or there's some other work to be done. So what can she do about it? And I just loved the fact that when you were talking about the lat exercises, Saraswati ma'am was actually doing it.
Yes, and I'm sure she would have felt little nice about the blood circulation also that time, and she's doing it for more repetitions, right? So there are just, it's about enjoying the fitness. It's not a torture to your body. So there is uncomfortable zone because you're doing it, but it's enjoyable. That's what I understand with this. Yeah. So I mean, if given a chance, not today, but some other day, there are some small home exercises which I can make a video and send it across to Sati, give it over here, and we can share it with the people around. That can be done from my end. And very simple guidelines. You don't need anything, just your home furniture and your own body weight. That's it.
I think that will be very useful. So I would encourage people to join our social media handles, or be a part of our caregiver support groups on WhatsApp, etc. Because those are the forums in which we'll be sharing some of the videos that Apeksha is talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And also I will like to add, Anish, if they have a stiff back or something like that, there are many good movements which they don't like, they just need to move it in a right way, and that back thing can get relaxed and eased out. Plus the flexibility will also increase. So like there it's all about how the body is functioning, right? What you're
yeah,
doing, what you want to do to have that kind of body, and what are you doing to already the body you have. It's a different thing, right? So अब तक जो किया वो किया, अब कुछ नया करते हैं ना,
right.
right?
No, I think that's one important thing that for me, in everything that you're talking about, is the whole shift from body weight to fitness. I'll explain what I mean. Like, my wife sometimes jokes that there's 30% of me that she never married, right? She's not married to 30% of me, is what she tells me. So when I think about that I have to lose this 25 kilos, then I become paralyzed by the lack of whatever. But what you said, if my goal is fitness, I'm not worried about what I weigh and what I look like, but I'm trying to be flexible. I'm trying to I'll worry about the weight later. I'll worry about the exercise later, but let me at least get the stiffness out. Let me
Just start. Yeah, just start. Anish, there's one more thing. Like today, after losing so much weight, people bully me still कि मोटी है. But this moti can run 36 hours, which one patla cannot run. Any patla cannot run. So yeah, that's it. That's the fitness, right? Have you lost my voice?
be lost. Something happened because of which I can't hear anything.
Yes, I was just saying, I'll repeat it. Till date, after losing 60 kgs, am I audible to others?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So Anish has a problem. No worries. Let him
Sorry,
figure it out.
something happened at my end because of which suddenly I lost all the advice that you were giving me, but I listened to the recording.
No, it wasn't an advice. It was just in sharing of my experience. Like fitness has no shape. It has all mindset. You need to keep this very strong, and everything goes in the place. Let's have a happy environment in healing process rather than having a sad environment, right? Rather than making yourself feel that you're locked somewhere, get opportunity from that situation and unlock your potential is what I would suggest. Everybody has problem. Nobody is problem like no problem free or something like that. And solutions are always there. As for fitness is something which you don't need to get education, nothing. You just have to move your body anytime and anywhere. So yeah.
And
Hello.
I think also for a person like me, my defense mechanism comes up like this. If somebody says, "Oh, you're not in good shape," I say, "I'm in great shape." Circle is a shape, right?
Yes.
My focus is more of using my brain to counter it as a coping mechanism rather than saying, okay, what can I do about it? So I think that's also an important shift.
Yeah, what can I do? You can do many things. Just revive. What are you fueling your body, which is making you lethargy, right? हम
Absolutely.
अगर
I'm just saying
मर्सिडीज
that.
चला रहे हैं तो हम अच्छा पावर स्पीड फ्यूल पेट्रोल देंगे, हम उसको we will not give diesel or something to a Merc, right? We are Merc. Think yourself as a Merc. Don't think yourself as a dumper and keep fueling, which is not important to ourselves, right?
Right.
So in that case, one comes the sugar intake, sweetness in the form of biscuits, bakery items, and cold drinks and beverages. Eliminate that much. Eliminate gluten products, wheat, carb. Increase the carb food and decrease the carb intake and increase the protein intake, because protein is always compromised whether it is vegetarian or non-vegetarian. And vitamins, raw fruits and vegetables. That's what you needed. Why do you need? And how much work do you do and how much fuel do you require? कितना mileage काम करना है, कितना हमको petrol देना है body को. That moderation is very important, right? So initially you might need an expert to make you understand, but everybody has that understanding body ko kitna khana hai. Don't eat till your stomach is really full. Keep some space empty to digest and assimilate and absorb, right? So that small awareness, when you're eating food, keep yourself gadget free, chew your food properly. All these small things really helps you a lot. When you get distracted and there's no food connection when you're eating food, that's what I said, you metabolize what you are thinking. So let's get connected, and then that helps you. That's that's what I will like to share with you. So yeah, and always keep yourself in some environment where there are exercise, somebody's forcing you or motivating you, rather than somebody's partying and calling you for drinks and all that stuff. So you can make that change, right?
No, absolutely. The other thing that I personally think that will be important for a lot of our uh, audience will be sleep hygiene, right? So all of us might not be insomniac. Like for example, there are days when I can't sleep till 4 in the morning or whatever, but that's just me. But having that fitful sleep, so it becomes a vicious cycle, because sometimes I'm told that if you exercise, to neend aayegi, but exercise is itself a bottleneck, right? But
So you don't know where to end, where to start in the circle.
is what I'm saying. So are there some specific sleep hygiene tips that you have? So obviously one thing that you mentioned is be away from devices. That is
Yes.
one. Are there anything else that you can think about which are useful in
So
helping in the
as
sleep
per
hygiene?
science and as per the our environmental routine, what we have, like after sunset, and okay, today's work scenario is such that we are awake till 10, 11, 12. We can't sleep early because of work and all that process. But whenever you have your dinner, record that time and post 3 hours. Make that register your mind that after 3 hours I need to sleep after your dinner. छोटा सा, इतना छोटा सा साइकिल से हम स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं, राइट? This is such a small point. After 3 hours, after 2 hours, I need to take a walk before I sleep. You will definitely get tired and you will definitely feel sleeping, because body is designed to sleep at night. Body is not designed to be awake at night, right? 4 o'clock is a wake up time. It's an energy time, and body takes energy from the universe. So 4 a.m., 5 a.m. is what you can't, like, say अब मैं सो रहा हूँ, मुझे energy नहीं चाहिए, right? So that much understanding each and everybody has it. So there is no thumb rule. Okay, I will just say that after eating your food, you have your hot drinks, what we have it, like, maybe haldi wala milk, anti-inflammatory drinks, what we give it to generally everybody. Like nowadays people are having kada and sleeping, right? So post 2 hours after your lunch, dinner, just make a point that after 2 hours I need to sleep, and before sleeping I need to walk for 30 minutes, and definitely you will get a sleep. I bet on it. You can start today itself. I guarantee that. And also depends on what kind of food you're eating for dinner. Always eat like a poor, never eat like a rich man for dinner.
So one thing that Bhavna just mentioned in the chat is that many times caregivers are afraid of having a deep sleep because they feel that they have a need to be vigilant, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And also, like you and I might have the luxury of saying that I will sleep 3 hours after dinner, and I'll get up at 6 in the morning. Though I don't think that's ever going to happen to me, but generally speaking,
Generally, yeah.
they have that kind of possibility. But caregiver often has this mental fear that if I'm sleeping, to kuch ho gaya to. But how to still have a healthy balance is something which many of us struggle with.
See, generally caregivers will feel sleepy at night. All right, there is a solution for it. In this whole process of taking care, there will be a cycle which they have to make a note when the patient is not requiring her much. So that is the time where she needs to set, okay, I can take a sound sleep of 1 hour or 2 hour when it comes to that. And it's a body clock, right? The patient will also definitely go to sleep, so she can or he can tie up the timing or work on the timings when the patient needs him more. There can be an alarm set up or something like that where they can work it. Okay, now this is the period when the patient is not going to require me, so I can rest at that time if the caregiver is sleep deprived. But maximally, I understand if the patient is under medication and all, they definitely have 6 to 7 hours of sleeping in entire 24 hours of day. So that is the time where they need to adjust their sleeping things. See, even like when you are sleeping, the 1 hour sound sleep is also enough that time.
Right.
The 3 hours sleep maybe it's not a sound sleep, but that 1 hour of sound sleep will recover or heal the person caregiver for the next 24 hours. Yeah.
Right. So here is one more excuse that came up.
Yes.
How do I resist junk food?
How do I resist junk food? So just imagine one thing before eating junk food. ये खा के सिर्फ मुझे टेम्पररी मजा आने वाला है, उसके बाद गिल्ट भी आने वाला है. So you want that guilt or you want that temporary pleasure? Like, licking an ice cream will give you a pleasure for 15 minutes, 5 minutes. What after that? You have already loaded 1,000 calories inside with one big scoop of ice cream, where you have not even burned it and you're not doing exercise. So that mindset has to come. What you are fueling, you're not a dumper. You are a Merc, you are a, any good car, and fuel yourself that way. I give that example to everyone, all of my clients. We are no more dumper. How to resist junk food? Junk food is an emotional eating, to be very frankly. You're not even hungry. You're just eating to have that taste. That's it. And it's not doing no good to you. And you know the fact. So 5 minute ki maze ke liye you have to suffer for 5-6 days with that calories. Why?
So I'm not going to order a pizza tonight, that's for sure. So okay, we are at a stage where we would encourage the participants to unmute themselves, ask questions, make any comments. Could you raise your hand in the participant list, your virtual hand, and we'd like you to.
And there are many dreams. Out of many dreams, at least follow few dreams and work on it. I will again mention, it is not, don't lose yourself in service of other people. Always find yourself in service of other people. That's what I will like to say that. And fitness is happiness, and fitness has to be there every day to face the world.
There is one more question which has come up. Is there any movement for trauma? So I think the question is not, so I'm not 100% clear about the question. So what I will do is
But exercise is the key to get rid of it. Just follow it. Just do it as a routine. Anyways, you are in pain, so try one more pain. Maybe you are out of the pain, right, Alisha?
Yeah.
It makes
sense.
In
any case, I'm doing yoga.
It makes sense for me.
I am doing yoga.
Yes.
Yeah.
It made sense for me. I got a new horizon of my whole life when I started exercise. And since before 10 years back, if you would see me myself, I was in no hope of getting slim and trim also at any day of my life. So yeah.
My situation right now is